Hello, we are on day 9 of our chronological Bible reading. We're just reading through it in the order that things supposedly happened in time rather than in the actual Bible itself. We finished Job 17 through 20 last time, and we are on 21 through 23. So I have a BibleSummary.info webpage up that has just very short little summaries of what happened. So in Job 18, Bildad spoke, who was his friend, and then Job replied in Job 19. Zophar spoke again in Job 20, and now we're on 21, where Job is going to reply again. And the summary that this little website is putting, this is just like little clips of what is said in that chapter. Let's see. So we're going to hear Job say, "Why do the wicked grow mighty? How often do they have trouble? Who repays them? Your answers are empty." So once again, saying his friends aren't being helpful. Then Eliphaz is going to reply, "Is not your wickedness great? Submit to him," saying that Job must be doing something wrong still. So same old that we've been hearing. And then Job 23, Job's going to reply again, "If only I knew where to find God. When he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold, but he does whatever he pleases." So that's the summary of what we're going to see. Let's start off with a quick prayer. God, give me wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. God, let any knowledge I gain serve to help me love you and others more and not puff me up. God, help me see something new about you I've never seen before. God, correct any lies about you or anything I misunderstand. Correct any lies I believe about you or anything I misunderstand. God, direct my steps according to your word. Amen. Okay, we're going to jump right in and start reading Job 21. Then Job answered, "Listen carefully to my words. Let this be consolation to you. Let this be the consolation you offer me. Bear with me and I will speak. And after I have spoken, you may mock. Is my complaint against a man? If so, why should I not be impatient? Look at me and be appalled. Put your hands over your mouths. For when I think about this, I am terrified, and my body feels a shudder. Why do the wicked go on living, grow old, even increase in power? Their children are firmly established in their presence, their offspring before their eyes. Their houses are safe without fear. No rod of punishment from God is upon them. Their bulls breed without fail, their cows calve and do not miscarry. They allow their children to run like a flock. Their little ones dance about. They sing to the accompaniment of tambourine and harp, and make merry the sound of the flute. They live out their years in prosperity and go down to the grave in peace. So they say to God, 'Turn away from us. We do not want to know your ways.' Who is the Almighty that we should serve him? What would we gain if we were to pray to him? But their prosperity is not their own doing. The counsel of the wicked is far from me." And like last time, we're going to highlight things we want to come back to and read an entire chapter before we study. How often is the lamp of the wicked extinguished? How often does their misfortune come upon them? How often does God apportion pain to them in his anger? How often are they like straw before the wind, and like chaff swept away by a whirlwind? You may say, God stores up a man's punishment for his children. Instead, let him repay the man himself, so that he may know it. Let his own eyes see his destruction. Let him drink from the anger of the Almighty. For what is his interest in his home after his death, when the number of his months have been broken off? Can anyone teach God knowledge, since he judges those who are on high? One man dies in his full vigor, completely secure and prosperous, his body well nourished, and the marrow of his bones moist. And another man dies in bitterness of soul, never having tasted anything good. Together they lie down in dust, and worms cover over them both. Yes, I know what you're thinking, the schemes by which you would wrong me. For you say, 'Where now is the nobleman's house, and where are the tents in which the wicked lived?' Have you never questioned those who travel the roads? Do you not recognize their accounts? That the evil man is spared from the day of his misfortune, that he is delivered from the day of God's wrath? No one denounces his conduct to his face, and no one repays him for what he has done. And when he is carried to the tombs, and watch is kept over the funeral mound, the clods of the torrent valleys are swept to him. Behind him everybody follows in procession, and before him goes a countless throng. So how can you console me with your futile words? Nothing is left of your answers but deception. Okay. Honestly, I don't know what to say with a lot of Job. So this wicked prospering thing has been interesting to me, because we do see that in the world. They say, turn away from us. We do not want to know your ways. Their prosperity is not their own doing. What does he mean by that? The implication of the statement is that their well-being is from God, which is the problem Job is raising in the chapter. A number of commenters make it a question, interpreting it to mean the wicked enjoy prosperity as if it's their right. Okay. So, Job is saying that God gives good things to bad people. Sometimes. What were the schemes by which you would wrong me? Okay, so I'm kind of having trouble getting much out of this other than just what we've already heard. I'm sure that there's more to get out of this other than the surface, just the surface value of it, but can anyone teach God knowledge since he judges those that are on high? So that's a rhetorical question. It says, and this is, I didn't mention it, but this is the net translation that is very literal. It has lots of notes. All of these little notes are translator notes. Is there anything, so this is the Cornerstone Bible Commentary, CBC, and let's see if it has anything on this 21 that we're looking at here. The wicked grow wealthy and own. So they think the prosperity is their own doing. The commentary says the closing speech of the second cycle is exemplary of the dialogue in Job. This chapter contains a most direct response to the preceding one. Zophar had argued that the wicked will self-destruct because of their greed, but Job argues they live in a grand style and end up with a fine funeral. 5 arguments of the friends are quoted and rebuffed by Job. Job's friends needed to look at him again. They needed to see what had become of the man who was once their confidant and friend. It was an appalling situation, one that should have left them dumbfounded, but they kept talking on and never got to the heart of the matter. Job was horrified by the situation. He had to make another attempt at being heard. It's an anguishing thought that a man of integrity should suffer as Job did. It makes one shudder to realize at the same time Job was suffering, the wicked were living in luxury and security. That's true. I see these type of arguments in just around me in life too, where it says, oh no, bad people will get what's coming to them. But we don't actually see that in real life. Bad people don't always get what's coming to them. Sometimes they, as Job says, sometimes they live grand with a fine funeral here on earth. What's happening? So this is all, how often do the wicked suffer on earth? Death levels everything. So everyone lives, everyone eventually dies, no matter whether they're good or bad. So Job's essentially saying you can't tell by someone's situation here on earth how good or bad they are, because wicked people have bad things happen to them or good things happen to them, and good people have good and bad things happen to them here on earth before death. And then everybody dies. Like death levels everything. While his friends were saying, no, what's happening to you now is a direct response to what you did. And that's not always true. So another one of those things that aren't always true. We're going to move on and read Eliphaz's third speech. Then Eliphaz the Temanite answered, "Is it to God that a strong man is of benefit? Is it to him that even a wise man is profitable? Is it of any special benefit to the Almighty that you should be righteous? Or is it to any gain to him that makes your ways blameless? Is it any gain to him that you make your ways blameless? Is it because of your piety that he rebukes you and goes to judgment with you? Is not your wickedness great, and there is no end to your iniquity? For you took pledges from your brothers for no reason, and you stripped the clothing from the naked. You give the weary no water to drink, and from the hungry you withheld food. But did he? Although you were a powerful man, owning land and on... I cannot read today. I apologize. Although you were a powerful man, owning land, an honored man living on it, you sent widows away empty-handed, and the arms of the orphans you crushed. That is why snares surround you, and why sudden fear terrifies you, why it's so dark you cannot see, and why a flood of waters covers you. I'm going to highlight that. Is not God on high in heaven, and see the lofty stars how high they are? But you have said, what does God know that he judges through such deep darkness? Thick clouds are veil for him, so he does not see us, and goes back and forth in the vault of heaven. Will you keep to the old path that evil men have walked, men who were carried off before their time, when the flood was poured out on their foundations? They were saying to God, turn away from us, and what can the Almighty do to us? But it was he who filled their houses with good things, yet the counsel of the wicked was far from me. The righteous see their destruction and rejoice. The innocent mock them scornfully, saying, surely our enemies are destroyed, and fire consumes their wealth. Reconcile yourself with God, and be at peace with him. In this way your prosperity will be good. Accept instruction from his mouth, and store up his words in your heart. If you return to the Almighty, you will be built up. If you remove wicked behavior far from your tent, and throw your gold in the dust, your gold of Ophir among the rocks and ravines, the Almighty himself will be your gold, and the choicest silver for you. Surely then you will delight yourself in the Almighty, and will lift up your face towards God. You will pray to him, and he will hear you, and you will fulfill your vow to him. Whatever you decide on a matter, it will be established for you, and light will shine on your ways. When people are brought low, and you say, lift them up, he will save the downcast. He will deliver even someone who is not innocent, who escaped through the cleanness of your hands. So I don't know this, before we leave this, what is, if you return to the Almighty and you will be built up, and you remove your wickedness from your gold in the dust, your gold of Ophir. What is Ophir? Ophir in the Bible is referred to as the country from which gold was brought. That makes sense. Ophir gold was considered to be of high quality. It's also mentioned, okay. Your gold, so your high quality gold among the rocks in the ravines. So I did get from Eliphaz's third speech that this is specifically what Eliphaz is saying he did. He said that you took pledges from your brother for no reason, stripped clothing from the naked. What does that specifically mean here? So refers to people who are poorly clothed. So you stripped the clothes, leaving them naked. So either he made them naked by stripping off their garments, or they were already in rags. And then pledges means, in this verse, Eliphaz is saying that Job not only took as pledge things the poor need, like clothing, but he did it for no reason. He didn't help the poor, he didn't help the hungry, he sent widows away, and the arms of orphans he crushed. Arms of the orphans are their helps on the rights in which they depended on for support. Okay. So he didn't help the orphans, the widows, the poor, or the hungry, or his brothers. He's just kind of covering all bases. So this probably isn't directly saying you did all these things, but these are the things that people do. You must have done them. I mean, Eliphaz is right in saying don't do these things. Like, don't take pledges from your brothers for no reasons. Help the widows, help the orphans, help the hungry, help the poor. That's all good. But I think he's kind of unfairly saying that Job must have done this stuff. And he's also saying that it seems like he's saying that God doesn't benefit at all if a wise man is profitable or a righteous man. That what we do doesn't matter to God. There's no special benefit to him if we're good or if he's good. I think that's what that's saying. The NIV translation says, "Can a man be a benefit to God? Can even a wise person benefit him? What pleasure would it give the Almighty if you were righteous? What would he gain if your ways were blameless?" Okay, we're going to continue on to Job 23. So this is Job's reply to what Eliphaz just said. Then Job answered, "Even today my complaint is still bitter. His hand is heavy despite my groaning. Oh, that I knew where I might find him, that I could come to his place of residence, that I would lay out my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. I would know with what words he would answer me and understand what he would say to me. Would he contend with me with great power? No, he would only pay attention to me. There an upright person could present his case before him, and I would be delivered forever from my judge." The inaccessibility and power of God. "If I go to the east, he is not there, and to the west, yet I do not perceive him. In the north, when he is at work, I do not see him. When he turns to the south, I see no trace of him. But he knows the pathway that I take. If he tested me, I would come forth like gold. My feet have followed his steps closely. I have kept to his way and have not turned aside. I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my allotted portion. But he is unchangeable, and who can change him? Whatever he has desired, he does, for he fulfills his decree against me, and many such things are his plans. That is why I am terrified in his presence. When I consider, I am afraid because of him. Indeed, God has made my heart faint. The Almighty has terrified me. Yet I have not been silent because of the darkness, because of the thick darkness that covered my face." So that is all of the reading for today. We're going to mark that done because it's fun to click the button. Let me summarize it for myself. Job is saying, if I could find God, if I knew where he was, I would lay my case before him. So there goes the dog again. I would lay out my case before him and fill my mouth with arguments. So he's saying, if I could do that, I would know with what words he would answer me and would understand what he says to me. First time I read this, I thought he was saying that he knows before he says it what he would answer him with. But I think he's saying if he could lay out his case before God, then he would know what words he would answer me. And then would he contend me with great power? No, he would only pay attention to me. What does that mean? Okay, so he does not need a display of power. He just wants a hearing. The dog's very excited about something. Okay. And then goes on to say, I know he is everywhere, but I cannot see him or get to him. I don't perceive him. I see no trace of him. But I know he's everywhere. So he's just inaccessible. It's probably a good way to put it. He's unchangeable. Who can change him? So here's more of Job's saying, he's followed his steps closely. I've kept to his ways. I've not departed from the commands of his lips. I've treasured the words of his mouth more than my allotted portion. So what does that? So it indicates, well, that doesn't actually help any. That doesn't help me any. I don't know, maybe it helped you. More than my allotted. This is verse 12 of 23. What does other translations say? I have not departed from the commands of his lips. I have treasured the words of his mouth more than my daily bread. Oh, okay. They're talking about food. This is one of the cases where actually having other translations open actually helped me. I have it open just in case it helps, but it doesn't always seem to really help. Okay, so I've treasured the words of his mouth more than the food that I'm given to survive. If he tested me, I would come forth like gold. That doesn't help. What do other translations say? come forth, come out, come forth. It doesn't help. Okay. That is why I'm terrified of his presence. When I consider, I am afraid because of him. But he's still calling him the Almighty has terrified me. And I think if all of this had happened to you, you'd probably be scared of God too. And probably rightfully so. I mean, to have a good appreciation for someone who can do absolutely anything ever. It's probably a good appreciation to have. Seems like another example of two regular people talking and not God talking, because he's saying he fulfills his decree against me, and many such things are his plans. But we know from the backstory that all that has happened to Job is not God's decree against him. It's actually God touting how good he is. Go ahead and test him. And many such things are his plans. I think that's what's saying anyway. Yeah, I have not been silent because of the darkness, because of the thick darkness that covered my face. Okay, I'm glad the translator note says this is a difficult verse because I didn't quite understand it. The Hebrew text literally says, "For I have not been destroyed because of darkness, and because of my face, gloom has covered." Most commentators omit the negative adverb, which gives meaning that Job is enveloped in darkness and reduced to terror. The verb nitzma means I have been silent, and so obviously the negative must be retained. He has not been silent. I have not been silent because of the darkness. So is the darkness the scared he is? Because he's saying, yet I have not been silent because of the thick darkness that covered my face. What do commentaries say about this? This is verse 17 of 23. So this is talking about Job has said he's gone every direction in his quest to find God, forward, backwards, left, and right. God was not anywhere. God's hidden. What else does it say? So this commentary explains this last sentence here by saying the thought of it brought Job to a state of terror. Darkness was all around him. Gloom enveloped his life entirely. Okay. Well, that's good for today. I have things I gotta do today. We will continue on tomorrow and we will be back in Job. It's like hearing more from Job. Initially, Bildad's gonna speak again. Job's going to reply to Bildad, and then chapter 28 will get into the third section of Job. With that, have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.